up, everybody? It's your boy Kenny bringing you 5 on it. It's our ranking series where we talk about a particular subject, director, franchise, whatever. We break down a top 5 ranking of our choosing. Now, as y'all are aware, it got delayed a couple times, but October 15th, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be seeing, roughly 2 to 3 weeks from now, maybe a little bit less depending when this video drops now that I think about it. But within the next few weeks, my boy's coming back the night he came home again. Halloween Kills. He broke out of a burning building. That's what's going to be dropping, y'all. David Gordon Green bringing us the second installment in his Michael Myers trilogy, jumping back into John Carpenter's timeline, man, in the present. But I'm bringing you my top 5 favorite Halloween movies. My top 5 all time. I believe there's been, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe there's going to be 10. With Halloween Kills, I think it will be the 10th installment of Halloween, maybe the 11th. So we're pretty damn deep in this franchise. So I figured, why not talk about my personal 5 favorite Halloween flicks, man? So with no further ado, let's get right into it. So, number 5 is going to be a bit of a controversial choice, man. I was juggling between the two. I was going with either H2O, Rob Zombie's original Halloween. Which one's going to get number 5? Rob Zombie's Halloween, it got the spot, man. So, wait. Before you hit the dislike, hold up, wait up. Just hold on. Hear me out, all right? Now, do I love the origin story portion with Michael Myers as a child with a stripper mom and a douchebag hillbilly dad? Not really. Do I like the sequences with Michael at the sanitarium in the mental hospital talking to Loomis? Somewhat. I think the execution was the problem with that sequence, because that's where I personally would have started my remake of Halloween. Just saying me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different. But I would have started there and had Silent Michael deep in the descent of madness, not saying shit, but getting more of an idea of him and Loomis's relationship and getting more of him in the sanitarium is interesting. Just not 30 minutes worth of backstory is needed for Michael Myers as a character. Maybe 5-10 minutes just to get into some of that, crazy sanitarium stuff. Yeah, that could be interesting. That's something I can kind of see exploring without getting too deep into him as a person. You know what I'm saying? You're really just developing Loomis and giving us a different point of view to start the story from, while being somewhat familiar to the original, but you could blaze your own path from there, kind of like the second half of Rob Zombie's Halloween movie is. The first half is kind of more of his stuff with the origin. The second half is kind of like John Carpenter's retold Halloween, but it's the stronger half of the movie, if we're being honest, man. From the point of him escaping from the mental hospital to him getting to Haddonfield and us getting introduced to the new Laurie, played by the beautiful and talented Scout Taylor Compton. And then we have the new version of Annie, played by a personal favorite of mine. Actually met her a few years ago at Monsterpalooza. Shout outs to you, Danielle Harris, one of my personal favorite actresses. Can you talk? I don't know. And then I don't remember the actress that plays the cheerleader chick, but she's up in there. And we got a few cast and crew members that are worth note, man. Tyler Mane is Michael Myers. He kills it. He's awesome. Tyler Mane, dude, he did such a great job with this role. And I think, other than James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle himself, this guy is the best Michael Myers. He's in my third spot right there for sure. So I'm spoiling a little bit of that Michael Myers ranking, which was my other idea, but I figured this was a little more interesting and more stuff to talk about that people can get into. You know what I'm saying? But Rob Zombie's Halloween, I do have a good time with the second half. It is a lot stronger than the first half where you get a lot of backstory you just don't need. So that's why it's a little bit lower on this top 5 list right here, because I do enjoy it a bit more than H2O, because the mask is terrible in H2O. You got CGI mask, blonde hair mask, this mask, Target mask, Party City mask, Kenny's homemade mask. Like, anything is thrown in the mix that you could possibly be a Michael Myers mask. I'm surprised they didn't get a Shatner unpainted mask. You know what I mean? It was just all over the place, and it definitely ruins a lot of that tension and the aura of Michael Myers. And the one thing with it being a late 90s flick, H2O, it made it kind of a little bit too similar to Scream's vibe and aesthetic. It's not similar to the actual plot of the movie. It's just the aesthetic and it being on the West Coast as opposed to being in the Midwest like it usually is in a Halloween movie makes it off. It makes it a little weird. Laurie Strode with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back in that arc and that character's return to the franchise, cool. But I I do prefer that Laurie, but I prefer this Michael Myers, this mask, and this vibe a little bit more in that second half with Rob Zombie's Halloween. I do like Malcolm McDowell as Loomis in this first Rob Zombie's Halloween quite a bit. I think they totally shit the bed with him in the second one, but that's a conversation for another day. This one right here, I like Malcolm McDowell as Loomis. He's kind of doing his own thing. It is similar somewhat to Donald Pleasance. You can see him doing some of those classic, iconic lines, and he doesn't quite get all the way there the same way that Pleasance was able to do. Rest in peace to the legend there. But hey, he's not Donald Pleasance. I understand that. And Scout Taylor Compton is not Jamie Lee Curtis, so you got to take this for what it is and as his own thing. But I love Danielle Harris as Annie. I think both versions of Annie are actually strong side characters, so that's cool. And getting Danielle Harris in the Halloween franchise for the third time, but the second time in continuity wise, it's pretty awesome and cool to see. And Scout Taylor Compton, I think, did a serviceable and good job with Laurie Strode. So Rob Zombie's Halloween is coming in at number 5 on my list, y'all. Number four, just to make sure I don't say the wrong one. Number 4, John Carpenter's produced and written sequel to his original film, but was directed by one of the other cast and crew of the original film. I forget his name right now. I'm going to throw that in right here. My memory sucks with this stuff sometimes. It is Halloween 2 from 1981, man. The original Halloween sequel. I have a lot of fun with the movie, man. Especially the third act and the first act are very strong because it picks up right at the same night as the original Halloween. So you're picking up right there from when Michael Myers got up and ran off and Laurie was taken to the hospital. And he hears about this on some news broadcast on the radio or some shit. So he's like, hey, I'm going to go to that hospital and go kill that bitch real quick. And that's when you get all the reveals and stuff within this movie of the lineage of Michael and Laurie being brother and sister and all that stuff was introduced in this movie right here. And the funny story behind that, John Carpenter came up with that idea while he was drinking beers trying to finish the script in time. You know what I mean? So I do find that kind of amusing that he just came up with that when he was kind of backed into a corner a bit creatively, kind of getting out of that writer's block. So that was kind of cool to kind of find out some BTS stuff right there. But I'm a fan of this Halloween 2 sequel, man. The only problem for me with this one is, Laurie is like incapacitated throughout most of the movie, like just drugged out on meds in the hospital bed, not really doing anything, not saying anything, just kind of asleep, lying there until the third act of the movie, where she starts to kick in and get involved in the movie, where she was good and gave a great performance like Jamie Lee Curtis always does. And it was a serviceable job, but it just kind of wasted Laurie Strode as a character, and this whole reveal of them being related wasn't really fully fleshed out and executed, I think, in the best way possible. And just the whole second act in the middle section of the film is a little slow, you know what I'm saying? And even the way that the actor that plays Michael Myers in this movie is just kind of walking kind of too slow at times and kind of drags out the scenes a little too much, where you're not really building tension anymore as opposed to just dragging it out to try to manufacture tension. You're not really capturing tension in a real organic way. You know what I'm saying? Like John Carpenter did with the first movie. He took his time, he let things sit in the frame for a bit, but he wasn't dragging it out longer than it needed to be. It was just long enough to get you on the edge of your seat, just long enough to get you to anticipate a really bad thing about to happen. You know what I'm saying? So Halloween 2 is a fun sequel, is a solid sequel, is a good movie, is one of the better slasher sequels by a mile or so for most of them. But I just don't think it's necessarily top three, you know, the best of Halloween. So it's got to come in at number 4, man. So rolling into number 3, Halloween 4, baby, 1988. After they kind of had a bit of a stumble with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, trying to make it an anthology as opposed to continuing the Michael Myers canon, it was a bit of a stumble in the fact that people want Michael Myers. That's what people come to the Halloween franchise for. I am a fan of Season of the Witch. I didn't like it the first time I watched it because I was expecting Michael Myers to cut some people up. I wasn't expecting Mass to be, killing kids and crazy, weird cult stuff going on. It's a fun movie. It's a pretty good movie, actually, and you get that whole John Carpenter 80s vibe throughout the whole movie, and it has a great score as well. One of the best Halloween scores of all time, for sure. But Season of the Witch does not have Michael Myers in it, so it's not truly Halloween. So in 1988, they said, Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, we're doing what you wanted us to do. And they did what we wanted them to do. It's a good movie, man. I have a lot of fun with Halloween 4, man. The introduction of Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd, as Laurie Strode's daughter, is so cool and so compelling. And she was such a great child actress in her day back in the 80s, man. A lot of love and respect is going towards Danielle Harris, man. She really brings Jamie Lloyd to life in a very engaging, in a very convincing way without being annoying. She really doesn't detract from the tension or the scares or the humor or the overall what's the word I'm looking for? The overall atmosphere of a Halloween movie. She doesn't get in the way of it whatsoever. In fact, her being a child actually adds to the overall stakes and the tension and the overall creepy factor from Michael Myers going after some little girl just because she's related to him. And before they try to explain that all away in Halloween 5 and the really bad Halloween 6, with a good Michael Myers in it, but a really bad movie. But before they got into all that bullshit and did her dirty by cutting her out of the third movie of the Thorn trilogy right there, Danielle Harris's introduction, Jamie Lloyd being brought in to the franchise right here in Halloween 4 was such a treat and ended up being one of the strongest characters of the entire franchise, man. And even when it comes to Rachel, the girl that's kind of her surrogate big sister, her adoptive big sister, really steps in and puts her life on the line and really comes around and puts everything out there for her little sister and lets her know, we do love you. I do love you. I do get annoyed with you at times. I want to get out and live my life as a teenager, but she understands that Jamie needs someone to be there for her more than ever when you got a crazy, damn near maybe unstoppable serial killer going after her. You got to step up. And that whole sequence with her on the roof trying to get Jamie away from Michael is excellent. Such well done stuff and so well acted by the two of them, man. So you gotta give a lot of props to Rachel as a character and to Jamie Lloyd, Danielle Harris as well. And the Michael Myers interpretation and portrayal in this movie is pretty well done, dude. Like, the actor does a pretty damn good job with it. I just don't love the mask. They really missed the mark on the mask. Not as bad as H2O or anything like that, or Halloween 5, woof. But this mask right here, it left a little to be desired. It does ruin the tension a little bit at times, but once Michael Myers really gets into action and does what he does best, fucking motherfuckers up, especially while they're having sex, Michael Myers comes to play, and the actor that portrayed it and did it does a pretty good job, man. I can't complain too much there. The only thing knocking this from the number 2 spot was really that mask, and some of the side characters in the film aren't anything to write home about. They're not annoying, they're not bad, they're just kind of generic and just there. So I would say, other than the hot cop, the hot daughter of the cop, Trish, some little eye candy right there. No disrespect, just saying what it is. Other than that character being a nice little eye candy thing, Todd and the other side characters aren't really anything compelling or doing anything to really wow you, and they're not developing those characters any further than what you see on the screen, but it's serviceable. It does its job. And the whole atmosphere of the movie, though, with Halloween 4, it feels like fall in the Midwest. It feels like Halloween. It really captures that vibe. And some of the other sequels, even the one I'm going to talk about right after this at number 2, doesn't quite capture the atmosphere and vibe of the Halloween franchise quite like Halloween 4, man. So hats off to them for that. So Halloween 4, number 3 on my list, baby. Number 2, with no further ado, what's it going to be? Halloween 2018, baby. This, to me, best Halloween sequel, no questions asked. You could take that check to the bank, and you're gonna get your money every time, baby. This is without a doubt the best Halloween sequel, man. It gives you pretty much everything you want. Pretty much. Good Michael Myers? Check. Dope Michael Myers mask? Check. Good kills? Check. Good characters for the most part? Half check, right? Really cool soundtrack and score from the legend himself, John Carpenter. Double check. The best score of all time in Halloween. Even better than his original in the 78 Halloween. I love Halloween 2018, dude. James Jude Courtney is without a doubt the best Michael Myers interpretation other than the great Nick Castle himself. If Nick Castle didn't exist, or when Nick Castle's gone, James Jude Courtney is going to be the best Michael Myers actor alive. That's for sure. And not to be ominous, but just stating facts there. James Jude Courtney really came through and brought his A game and brought Michael Myers to the 21st century in the right way, while hearkening to the original, but bringing some of that intensity we kind of saw in those Rob Zombie movies without overdoing it like it did in those movies at times. He brought the right balance of intensity, of violence, of brutality, but keeping some of that creepy creeper element and that shadow that just moves with the wind. You know what I'm saying? He brought a lot of that original Michael Myers energy to Halloween 2018. And David Gordon Green and David Gordon Green and Michael shit. And when it comes to the direction of David Gordon Green, he did such a fantastic job with that, man. I love it. His direction and style of this film is very well done for the most part, man. It isn't too slow. It's very well paced. It's always keeping the story moving. There's only one element to the story of Halloween 2018 that I do not like whatsoever, was the Sartain twist of him being in on it and freeing Michael towards the first act of the movie from the bus, transporting him to the other mental institution, and him wanting to see the whole reason why Michael Myers was the way he was and bring him to Laurie so he can study them both and see what brings them together, since they retcon the whole familial element out of the franchise now, with this one being a reboot, if you will. So I didn't like that plot element. And him putting on the mask, big no-no. No Sartain with Michael Myers mask. Big mistake that David Gordon Green and them made on that one. No one else should put on the iconic mask except the person with the last name of Myers and the first name of Michael. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Don't do that. Come on. Don't do that again in Halloween Kills. Don't do it, guys. Please learn from your mistakes. That's a big no-no, man. Big no-no. Big no-no. No. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Please. Whew. Hated that, man. Really didn't like that element of the movie. But other than that, I enjoy the hell out of Halloween 2018. Also, a little more Michael Myers in the darkness and some atmosphere would help the overall vibe of the movie. But those Halloween Kills trailers kind of had what I was looking for in that department. So let's hope the movie really captures that and just really cranks everything up to 12 and blows that speaker out, Marty McFly style. You know what I'm saying? So, Halloween 2018, Halloween 18, as I like to call it, coming in at number 2. So, come on, yo. What else did you think was going to be number 1, baby? 1978, John Carpenter's Halloween, produced by the late great Deborah Hill. You know what I'm saying? This is the movie that started it all. The whole slasher craze here in the States was started because of this movie right here. The whole entire slashers with a mask craze started right here. You know what I'm saying? The whole killer's point of view perspective was done in 74's Black Christmas in Canada, but nobody knew about that back then. John Carpenter knew and brought it to us and made it a full-on freaking trope, man. The whole slasher genre was born and really came to life, really. Not born, but it was came to life and was brought to the forefront with the original 1978's Halloween, man. What else can I say about it that everyone else hasn't already said, right? But a few things that I love about the movie that I want to point out. Jamie Lee Curtis's breakout starring role is awesome, and I love her in this movie because she isn't the kick-ass, final girl with an attitude. She is that atypical or that prototypical classic goody two shoes virgin gonna live to the end of the movie final girl that we've all come to know and love and people have written over and over again. It started right here. And she just gave such a great earnest performance in her early days as an actress. I got to give her a lot of credit. She did great right there, man. And just Nick Castle as Michael Myers, awesome stuff. He really brought that character to the silver screen and gave it life and made it the icon Michael Myers was always meant to be, man. And John Carpenter, man, from the direction to the writing to the score, this guy was just, it was a moment in time where John Carpenter received an idea from somebody about making a Halloween slasher and setting it on Halloween night. He took the idea from that producer and just crafted one of the most brilliant characters in the shape in Michael Myers and just crafted one of the most well done and just simply made horror movies, one of the best 70s movies of all time, and one of my personal favorite movies of all time. And the whole John Carpenter style and thing was kind of born right here in this movie and has been copied and done over and over and over and over again. He never would have thought that this movie, this small horror movie that he wanted to make with his friends and his crew just to get himself out there, would have became the juggernaut, the icon, the legend that it is, that Michael Myers has become. And it has retroactively made John Carpenter a legend, a god among men, one of the horror gurus, someone that all us horror fans will never forget and will always cherish and will always respect and prop up and bring down to the next generation of film nerds like us and to the rest of the audience out there in the world and the people that love this pop culture stuff, man. So much love to John Carpenter for even making this movie, man. And I just want to give some respect to you, brother, for bringing this franchise to life. Even if it wasn't your intention, thank you. I'm so happy that you're back on board in the franchise in some capacity, giving it that flavor, bringing the John Carpenter style that makes Halloween what Halloween is meant to be, man. So let us know. Let me know. What's your favorite Halloween movie, man? What's your 5 on it list? What's the 5 movies you're going to take with you on that desert island, baby, if it's going to be Halloween only? What's your 5 on it list? Let me know in the comments section below if you're watching us on the YouTube. Make sure you click that subscribe button, guys. It helps us out a million times over. We're trying to reach our first 100 subscribers so we can get a custom domain and just completely customize the page so it looks cool and you guys can be part of the first 100 family members of Fandom Frequency. You know what I'm saying? Be a part of a movement and help us get to that ultimate goal of getting 1,000 followers. You know what I mean? Because once we get those 1,000 subscribers, the opportunities are endless and we can make this show even something bigger than it is now, and we could just make this community something really special, and we could create really dope content that reaches tons of dope nerds and tons of awesome people like you watching and listening to the show, and we can create a community and an outlet for all the nerds to gather and discuss and prop up each other's work. So make sure you become a part of the Fandom Frequency family. Make sure you join the movement, man. And thank you so much for checking out this episode. And when you go and check out Halloween Kills in a few weeks, after you see that movie, come back here and let me know. Does Halloween Kills jump into the list, or is it nowhere close? And anyone that thinks it needs to be in this list is crazy. Is my list crazy? You let me know in the comments below. I want to hear from y'all. But until the next ranking list, until you see me again, make sure y'all stay safe out there. But also, stay tuned. Don't sleep. And I'll catch you on the next one, y'all. Peace out.